This is the July 2026 tank update. It's been a little bit since I've done an update. Not a ton has changed with the tank, but there's been a few changes, so I thought I'd do an update. I did not wait till full night. There's a little bit of a glare, sorry about that. So as far as the tank goes, not a ton of changes. There's been a couple of fish changes. I've added a couple of waymakers, but not a lot has changed. So I will start with the corals, and then I'll move to the fish. As far as the corals, the SBS continues to grow quite well. There's definitely been less polyp extension due to a fish we'll talk about in a little bit. For instance, this one usually had a ton of polyp extension, not as much now, but growing like crazy. The Oregon tort that's sitting in front of the purple stylo, it was kind of struggling a little bit because there wasn't any flow, because the purple stylo blocked all the flow, so I added that pump that we'll talk about in a little bit. That's helped with the flow. Actually, there's a couple of the pieces, as you can see, that are actually dying because it's too much flow, but flow can be definitely a difficult balance. I've got my Blastos down here. The pink continues to do really well and grow. The purple Blasto I got, not so much. And of course, my curse is acans. I can never grow acans, and yeah, they're not doing well. These acans are doing okay. Mushroom rock exploding like always. I continue to find random loose mushrooms, and I'll grab them and stick them in the garage tanks so they don't take over the tank. GSP rock, huge as always. And then the SBS here in the middle, as you can see, are growing like crazy. They're all growing into each other. They seem to be playing somewhat nice. You know, they'll kill each other here or there, but they're blending decently well. The Bill Murray here in the middle is definitely getting big. It's starting to shade some, so it's shading the pink Floyd a little bit, as well as this pink coral. And then the home wrecker, that thing's going to be shaded pretty soon, so I'm going to have to cut back that coral a little bit. The home wrecker doesn't have all its polyps out due to the butterfly fish we'll talk about later. The green stag with the blue tips is continuing to explode. That thing's awesome. I love that thing. Looks like a deer antler. Oh my gosh. Some fish warfare going on. These acros are growing really well. The Heisenberg, what the colors on this thing are insane. It's like a circular pattern. I'm really looking forward to what that looks like when it grows out. That thing's looking nuts. Solar flare back there. It's kind of doing okay, not great, to be honest. This thing's getting huge as expected. These acros over here, they don't get a ton of flow, so I'm actually considering putting another wave maker there in the back. I just got to figure out which one, so I'll probably put something else back there to blow across. Chance to catch this guy. Continues to be fat and happy. Favia, it's slowly growing. I've never done great with Favias. This one's doing okay, the Dragon Soul. Otherwise, rock anemone, this mushroom that I put over here is probably gonna end up taking over that whole rock. Torches and Alveopora and Goniopora, they're doing great. The clowns love to host. They host all of them. They host the Goni, a little bit of the Alveopora, and the torches, which is super fun to watch. So that's about it for the corals. Everything continues to grow really well. As far as fish, you'll notice that Shamu, aka Dory, aka the blue tang, not in the tank, became an absolute butthead and was trying to kill everything. So I initially moved this one, the Desjardins tang, to the garage because it was trying to kill it, and then it moved to the magnificent fox face and try to kill it. So I just decided to get the blue tang out. It was too aggressive. It was getting really, really big, and I don't think it liked the size of the tank. So, and sometimes now that I put the Desjardins back in the tank, it's becoming a butt at times, as you've seen. And then the only other change in the fish has been this guy, Klein's butterfly. I had 100, maybe 200 Aptasia in this tank. It was absolutely exploding. I couldn't kill it fast enough. And so I put this guy in the tank less than a week ago. And good luck finding an Aptasia. He has murdered all of them. The problem is when he runs out of Aptasia to eat, his second favorite is rock anemones, so I feel bad for those guys. And third favorite is Acropora polyps. So in the garage, all my Acropora have no polyps because of him. So I'll have a decision to make pretty soon. He's done a great job with the Aptasia, but am I willing to sacrifice all of my polyps on my Acropora? Not so sure. So I might have to catch him, put him back at the garage. Problem with that is when I put him out here, the yellow tang wanted to murder him. So you kind of have to go through the whole fish hierarchy every time you move them back. So if I move him to the garage and move him back here, I've got that issue. So I don't know. As you can see, he's looking for Aptasia right now. So as far as Aptasia killer, he is amazing. So time will tell if I decide to keep him in this tank or not. Otherwise, all the other fish are doing well. When I removed the blue tang, there was a little bit of bickering since he was the big bully. But it's mostly settled down now. All the other fish are pretty much the same. And then we'll take a look at the tank from the side. I did add, so I've got the two MP40s on the back there that you can see. And then I've got the Max Spect two on the side, the two gyres. And then I added a DMP 30 here because the Max Spec tend to point across the top of the tank, and they're good for flow along the top and the middle, but they didn't get this early section. And so the DMP 30 has helped with flow kind of across the acros right there. And then I've got another DMP 30 on the side I'll show you. So this is the right side of the tank, another DMP 30. I had a DMP 40 over here, but that thing was so powerful. Even on the lowest setting, it was too much. You can see the coral there just got blasted by the DMP 40. So this 30A is, even on the lowest setting, is still pretty powerful. I would say it's the equivalent of a MP40, like at 50%, and we're only running at maybe 30%. These things are strong. The nice thing about the J-Cods is that you can run them off of your Kraken. So the Kraken can't run the MP40s because of the volts that they run, but it can run the J-Cods, which is really nice. So I've got the J-Cods running off my Kraken. And so the flow across these SPS has been much better. Because again, the XF350s, they tend to blow more across the top, and I need a little bit of flow across the back of the tank, so that's really helped. And then we'll move down to the sump. One other thing that's nice about having two of the DMP 30s is I can get a wet side, and then I can exchange the wet side pretty easy. So that'll be nice, because I have the two MP40s and I have a wet side MP40 that I clean, so it makes it easy to swap out. As far as the sump, not a ton has changed. I've got the IV dialed in pretty well, to be honest with you. It takes some adjustments with changing the salinity to where it should be, etc., but it's pretty accurate with a Hannah now, so that's been nice. And then it adjusts and adds a little bit of alk, which is the BRS soda ash, if my alkalinity is low, which has been good. I do have the GFO reactor back there. It's helped to keep my phosphates mostly below 0.2, but not all the time. So I went ahead and I started a refugium back, which I've not been a big fan of refugiums simply because they make a mess. So I put that board up, and one of the big issues with refugiums is the light spill, and it'll grow algae anywhere where you get light spill. So I'm trying to block the light as best as possible, but I just need more help with phosphates, so we'll see how that goes. I just started that a few weeks ago, and then I'm always having an issue with phosphates but never nitrates, so I'm dosing the neonitro a couple times a week to try to keep the nitrates up. Otherwise, not a lot has changed in the sump. The calc reactor, in combination with the doser for the alpha reef, is working really well. It tends to keep the alk really stable, and anytime it drops low, the IV picks it up and adds a little bit of soda ash. That's been working well. I have had to add a little calcium here or there, simply because it's boosting with soda ash, but no other calcium. So I'll check the calcium a couple times a month maybe, and I'll add a little bit of calcium, but it seems to be working well. Previously I was using reef both as a continuous doser and hooked to the IV, and that was ending up with calcium too high. So, oh, actually I just noticed my doser's running right now. Looks to be dripping well. Good. So yeah, when I was adding reef in this container and the IV was adding reef whenever the alk was low, it ended up ending with calcium that was too high. So I'd rather add calcium than somehow try to figure out how to take it out. I have been doing water changes. I've been doing once a month, about 20%. And I think that has definitely helped with everything. I was trying not to do any water changes, but once a month, 20% seems to be working pretty well. So that is the house tank. Overall, things are going well. And then I will move to the garage. So here are the garage tanks. Poor Shamu is stuck in this 40-gallon tank. I'm gonna sell him, obviously. But like I said, he was being too much of a butthead to all the other fish. Catching him was not easy, but I eventually caught him. So he's out here for now, and then I'll end up having to sell him. And then I've got these nice PNDW racks, custom racks. They're actually really nice. They're deep, got a ton of holes on them. So I've been using those to put all the frags on. So eventually, as I have to trim the corals in the house more and more, I'll end up giving away or selling some of these corals. But yeah, these racks work really well. Otherwise, not a lot has changed. There's no Aptasia in this tank because the Klein's butterfly used to be out here. And as mentioned, he's an Aptasia murderer. Of course, the rock anemone that he had hidden completely are able to come out now that he's gone. But I'm not sure if I'm gonna have to move him back out here to this tank. And then I just love the blue tank so much. I had to get a replacement. So there's a little guy. He's actually doing well, eating well. He's over in this tank, so once he gets a little bigger, I'll try putting him out in the house tank if he can survive with all the other tanks. I'll definitely need him to beef up a little more so he can defend himself. And finally, after all these years, ooh, it just kicked on. I've got a chiller out here. And that has been awesome. Because we're about 95 to 100 degrees every day out here in Riverside County. And so the chiller has been working really well. It's kind of weird, as you can see, when it kicks on, the temperature drops too fast. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So somehow it's registering a big temperature drop. So I had to basically set the temperature really low, like at 76. And then I have the chiller connected to the ink bird, which has a heating and cooling function. So the chiller kicks on only when the ink bird hits 80 degrees. But it drops it down to 79 degrees pretty fast, so the chiller is quite efficient. I ended up getting that on, I don't know, one of those Chinese sites. It's not that expensive, but works really, really well. So I've been happy. Otherwise, not much has changed out here. The Acropora are growing well, even though this isn't a big tank. I've got a big piece of Oregon tort I'm not sure I'm going to do with. Big piece of pink Cadillac, so I'm probably going to sell those pieces. And then I have to decide if I'm going to try to sell some sort of, once I get some more packs, frag packs of these corals, or just give them away. All right, until next time.